Most people refer to VanillaSoft as the solution. It's the solution to ensure sales reps make the right number of attempts for every lead across all channels, including email, social, and the phone. It's the solution to serve the rep the next best lead every single time. You need to get your solution at VanillaSoft.com.
Hey, isn't that cool? We got VanillaSoft as our sponsor. Pretty cool, isn't it, Mary?
Yeah, they are just, they are just an impressive company, not only with the product they produce and what they do in the sales arena, but they are a promotions machine. And I think we are really lucky to have them on board supporting Sales Logic. Now, you've known Daryl for a while, haven't you?
Oh, he is just a great, listening to his voice over there. He clearly must drink as much coffee as I do, which I know he does. I know he does drink a lot of coffee. But I'll tell you what, he is so in tune with what's happening out there in the sales world, the breadth and the depth of the conversations that he has. That's why it's really cool that they kind of selected us for their title sponsor, or let's put it this way, it's a marriage that came together really well. So we'll just kind of leave it at that. Anyway.
Well, Mark, I think it's important that, I think I really love that they have decided to support the podcast because they are really dedicated to all things sales. But why don't you just tell our listeners just a little bit about VanillaSoft, who they are, what they do, and what they're doing in the world of sales?
Sure. The best way to describe them is they're going to help you keep your leads in order to allow you to manage, because they have such and I hate to use the word artificial intelligence, but they have a way to queue up the leads that stuff doesn't fall through the cracks. I hear this time and time again as I've had a chance to talk with a number of their customers, that they say, wow, the number of deals that they're able to close and close faster because of how their system works and how it integrates with other tools. It really makes the lead. Yeah, wow. Think about this. How many people wake up in the morning and say, oh man, I want to prospect. Not too many people. But what's nice is this makes it, okay, it doesn't make the pain go away. It can still be difficult. Personally, I don't think so. I know you don't feel that way. But for a lot of people, yeah. But wow, it just makes it go so much more efficiently, so much more effectively.
Well, I think that everybody needs to check out VanillaSoft. But go ahead. What were you going to say, Mark?
Well, we were talking when we were in the green room about when you and I were going to be on an airplane next, and you had July and I've got June, but you made the comment that you said, if this gets over too soon, we're screwed. So, talk to me about that.
Well, I'm just saying that everybody that I'm talking with and engaging with is we're busy. I don't know about you, but I got up this morning and I could really feel an energy shift. Hour yesterday on the phone with a CEO that I worked for about 3 or 4 years ago. Now he's in a community that's been double impacted by the fact that their retail and small business has been impacted. They're also have a lot of people in the oil industry. But he said, we're really starting to feel things start to move, things get better, and we're kind of figuring out how to live with this. So I feel like we're all really busy, and really what I was alluding to is I don't know how I had time to travel, because I never seem to leave my house anymore in my home office, but I've been sitting here since 5:30 this morning, and I'm not going to see the light of day till about 7 o'clock tonight. So there's just I don't know. It's exciting, and I feel the energy is people are starting to figure it out, and things are starting to move.
I think you hit on something. They're figuring out, because we're realizing that we're probably going to have to live with this for a while. So we better just figure out a solution and not allow COVID to become the dominant thing of everything in our mind. We just got to figure out a solution. Here's what I found. I have found more ways to be more efficient in the last 6 or 8 weeks than I ever thought imaginable. Because I can't imagine, how did I ever have time to travel? That's what's kind of blowing my mind away. Now I live in a small town. I live in Omaha, okay? And I have once actually driven past the airport just to like, okay, it's still there. Okay, it's still there. I mean, just because I miss you. I miss you.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I mean, I tend to live in Delta lounges. I mean, I probably spent more time in Delta lounge than I spent in my own home. And every Delta lounge that I walked in January and February was packed to the gills. And I really wonder how they're going to manage, how they're going to manage that now, and how they're going to start to just a lot of decisions and a lot of innovation that has to happen. But isn't that what entrepreneurship and business is really about? It's about, I think there's a lot that you can learn from the fact that no matter how bad the challenges have been, we have always gotten through them and always found our way.
We always do, and we always come out of the other end much smarter. Go back to the 2008 recession. Nobody wanted it, but we came out of that so much smarter as a result of that. So to a certain degree, yeah, I'm not wishing this on anybody, but I'm viewing it as a learning experience, as a tool. I'm digging in deeper into things that I didn't ever think I'd have time to do. Now, my calendar's crazy, it's busy, but I'm able to do things with clients that I never was going to be able to before. I'm able to do things. I'm able to streamline systems. I can't believe how much time I wasted pre-COVID doing some things.
Yeah, it does make you get quite a bit more selective. I'll tell you the thing that I'm most energized by is just how so many of the things that I consulted about or I talked about before COVID had become almost irrelevant. And it's really forced me to go back in as I've listened to some of my customers' challenges and their issues, not to just throw the same old answers, to really go back in, dig, and educate myself. I mean, being a guy from Omaha, then the legendary advice of Warren Buffett, that he is a avid learner and reader and devotes quite a bit of time to that every day. And while I'm not exactly on the Warren Buffett train of spending that much time, really re-educating myself and spending a lot of time upping my game has really reinvigorated me and gotten me excited again about my business.
Both in my family room and my office that probably stand 3 feet high. In fact, some more arrived the other day, plus Kindle books and so forth. I've got such a stack of books I picked up, and I have not been able to read them. And I think of Warren Buffett. I mean, I'm right down the street from him. I'm on 42nd and Farnham, and he lives at probably at about, no, I guess not, I'm not at 42nd. I'm at 20th and Farnham or something like that. He lives up at about 54th and Farnham or something like that. So he's not that far away. He reads 500 pages a day. 500 pages a day. You think about the knowledge, the accumulation of knowledge. Wow. I got to get reading. More. But here's something that I figured out regarding this whole COVID thing. We are all going to bestow on each other an MBA in sales, because isn't it amazing how we've really learned how to sell over the last couple months?
Yeah.
When I mean sell in terms of really understanding what values to the customer, what really values, what does that do? It forces us to listen. It really forces us to create more trust. It really forces us to truly understand how we can make an impact and help the customer. And that's something that I think every salesperson I've talked to has echoed. Wow. It's been great. Did I just say that? It's been great?
Well,
yeah, it has been great.
Well, you know what, Mark? I think that since we're talking about value, and that has a lot to do with today's show, we should probably kick off this week's episode of A Sales Logic. What do you think?
Well, I think we should. And I think before we do that, because, hey, we've been doing this on YouTube and Facebook and so forth, and we're going to try to continue this. And hopefully when we both get back on planes, we're still going to find time to do this every week, because we're really starting to pick up kind of an audience there, and it's really cool. And again, that's kind of an outgrowth of COVID-19. But hey, we should get into the show. We got some good stuff lined up.
today.
So we got to go to our producer working remotely. Micah, are you ready with the video?
When we prospect with integrity, we will get customers who have integrity. Integrity is the foundation from which everything is built on.
You better understand value. But at the end of the day, sales is a relationship business. It is a people business. It is an emotional business.
Who has made a prospecting call today?
This is Sales Logic.
All right, so here we go. Welcome to Sales Logic, the show where we dive into the strategies, the techniques, the logical solutions to really help you sell and sell effectively in today's marketplace. I'm Meridith Elliott Powell, and with me today is my co-host,
Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. And it's great to be with you today, Mayor. We've got a full action-packed show. And it is amazing how the sales world continues to change. So, hey, why don't you tease the audience a little bit with what we got planned for today?
Yeah, so we've got a great topic today. Today, we are going to talk about what is the difference between solution-based selling and value-based selling and how you make the change. But before we dive into that, we've got a question from one of our listeners, and you are always invited to submit a question at sales, and we will wind up, as we do every week, with a fast track, the actual tips that you need to walk away and effectively put things into place. And today our fast track is going to be the top ways to sell value. So Mark, let's kick off with today's question. It is from Jim Stefanino, I hope that I pronounced that right, from Kansas City. And it is, given the impact of this crisis, should I update my value proposition? And if so, how? Mark, question on the table to you.
Well, the first thing I have to ask Jim is, Jim, you're from Kansas City, so that means I hope you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan. So the real question I want to ask you, Jim, is do you think Kansas City Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl again this year? Okay, now, Meredith, I know you're not into sports, but I just had to get that out on the table. Okay, just had to. Hey, here's the whole thing. I think we should always be updating our value proposition, and especially now, because in this COVID environment, we're recording this here in May? June? I can't remember. May of 2020. Things change, and customers are looking for faster answers. They're looking for more simplicity. They're looking for a faster ROI. So I think you really do need to. I don't know. I'd be curious. What are you hearing from people, and what are you sharing with people?
Yeah, I've got to tell you that I think it's probably one of the most important things that you do. Now, just in case anybody's wondering, the very simplistic definition of a value proposition is this is the promise that you're going to make to the customer. This is your differentiator in the marketplace. This is why they should choose you over the competition and what they believe they are going to gain in a value perspective. And I think you need to update your value proposition because what your customer values in today's marketplace has changed. We've got to reposition our products and services. I mean, value propositions are designed to solve our customers' pain points, right? What's bothering them, what's worrying them. I mean, the way we sell is to fill the urgent need. And so the chances that the pain point that your customer is feeling has changed given the COVID crisis, whether they're directly or indirectly impacted, whether they've been impacted in a way that their business is suffering or impacted in a way that their business is booming. Their problems and challenges have changed, and that makes you need to change your value proposition.
You know, and I think with that, we really have to say it's got to be short and expedient. I've been stressing this with everybody. The value proposition, I can't put something on the table with a value proposition that says, oh, this is going to really work out for you in 2025. Customers are saying, hey, what is it now? What is it? What's going to help get me through to the end of 2021 or 2020, let alone to 2021? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mark, I was thinking about, I wonder, have we changed our own value propositions? How do we answer the question of what is the value that you bring to the marketplace? And I was thinking about this just this morning, is that really before the COVID environment hit, my whole value prop was that I can work with you to turn uncertainty to competitive advantage. And now really what I'm selling and helping people do is gain control in an uncertain marketplace, because my customers aren't as worried about their competitors in today's environment. They're worried about how they get their own business up and running. And what I sell is a 3-step strategy to put you in a position to stabilize, grow, and transform your business. So I've had to adjust my strategy even just a little bit. Even though my value prop sort of spoke to this environment, I still had to go back in and tweak it. So when a customer hears it, they go, that's me. I recognize myself in that value prop. What about you?
Well, yeah, mine has always been, I help you find and retain better customers that you can close at full price. And what that's meant is I've had to change just slightly in terms of, because find and retain better customers. What does that mean? What does that mean? That means different things to different customers. Find and retain better customers right now. This may not be a long-term growth strategy. This is a short-term growth strategy. What do we mean by full price? Full price might be full price, but on a smaller level. So yeah, I've had to change to adapt to this COVID environment. But you made a comment, and I think you and I are both on the same track. Our mission, our overall objective is still the same.
Yeah.
All we're doing is we're changing a little bit of the track, the path that we're traveling now to help the customer get there. That's the only thing that we're doing. We're still staying focused. And I think this is where a lot of companies get lost. I saw a company the other day, totally unrelated. I can't believe it. Now they're making masks. They're making masks. I go, what? Where did this come from? This is like so stupid. So stupid. Know what your core competency is and stay in that. You may have to change the path and the track a little bit, but you know what? Still stand there. I don't see the airline business. The airline business is getting pummeled right now, but I don't see the airline business. I don't see Delta, saying, oh, we're going to get into trains. We're going to buy Tesla. No, they're still in the airplane business. They're still in the mode of transporting people through the sky. That's the lane that they're in. They're figuring out different ways to deliver it.
Yeah, you just made me think about something, because when I think about like Uber's value prop is something like the smartest way to get around or something like that. And they may have to play with that value prop a little, because really Uber is surviving more now on Uber Eats and some of the other things that they're doing. So I think the biggest thing is to keep in mind is when you think about your value prop, is it relevant to the problems and the pain points that your customers are having right now? If it is, great, keep on moving with it. If it isn't, then adjust it a little bit. But I think what Mark has said is so key, is that you've got to stay aligned to your core values and the core of who you are. You can look at businesses down through history that have really survived through uncertain times. And that's one of the main principles. They're clear about who they are and clear about the value that they bring to the customer. They may just have to change the wording a bit in the value prop so it speaks directly to the pain that the customer is feeling. So we hope that has solved today's question. But Mark, we've got a topic to jump into where we have to talk about the difference between solution-based selling and value-based selling, and if we need to make the switch. So topic on the table. What do you think?
When you posed that topic to me, I got thinking, is this a chicken and egg question? No, that's not it. That's not even close. This is really more about boneless wings and bone-in wings. Let's cut right to the chase. Boneless wings and bone-in wings. Because if you really stop and think about it, how do we get to value-based selling. First, we got to understand the need, and we were talking about that when we were answering Jim's question. Because you think about it, we said he's got to change his value proposition. We both changed our value proposition slightly because the marketplace has changed. I think solution-based selling takes us to value-based. That's just my theory. You've actually got the website. You actually have the website with the word value in it. So I have a feeling you are pretty strongly opinionated with this.
Well, I never really thought about it that way, and I like what you're saying, that solution brings you to value. And I tell you, what I really think about it is solution-based selling is great. It is like getting to the first level with your customer. But if you stop at solution-based selling, you're missing the opportunity to really be the level of value you need to your customer. Here's the difference that I feel is, number one is pretty much when we solve a solution, we're probably solving a problem that the customer knows they have. Our job as salespeople is to help them identify and proactively solve the problems that they haven't really identified yet, that can help their business, help their teams, and help their customers go to the next level. Value-based selling to me is really where we come in and we think bigger. We really help them take the opportunities in their business to the next level. And where I feel like sales people sell themselves short is that we take our cues from our customers, which is important, but once you solve those problems, go another level and help them think bigger and think bigger about the way that your products and services can help them achieve their goals in ways they've not thought of before.
Yeah, and when you do that solution-based selling right, you create trust and confidence and deeper relationship, which is what we really hone in on here in this whole podcast. And what does that do? That earns you the right to be able to go deeper with them, to be able to go farther with them. And that's where I really feel the payout. Because if we stop and think about this, if all we do is help you, the customer, achieve the immediacy of your issue, we really haven't done anything. All we've done is really provided a transaction that probably could have been done by way of the internet. See, the value that we bring, the solution-based and the value proposition that we bring, is really based upon the intellect and the insights that we bring to the table, and we help you uncover. And that's where I always go, in order for me to really do value-based selling, I've got to first do solution-based selling, because that helps me understand where I need to go with you. So that's where I kind of come back to this whole piece of, it really is about boneless wings and bone-in wings. They're both great. They're both great. And I personally enjoy boneless wings if I don't want to get my hands dirty. But if I really want good chicken wings, I gotta have bone-in.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out, are the bone-ins the solution or the value?
Don't go there. I don't have logical thinking with how the process.
I think you brought I just want to say that I think you brought up a really great point. And the point that you brought up is, if you are just solution-based selling, you are doing what your competitors can do. You are not differentiating yourself. Value-based selling is what makes you a true resource and what makes your customers say, I can't live without you. And that's what we want in today's marketplace. We want to hold on to our customers long term, and we want to make sure that even when our competitors come knocking at the door, they can't possibly even think about going to work with them.
That really means that the sales process is really designed to create an ecosystem that brings you and the customer together to a level of understanding that you both can't function without each other. That's really what we're talking about here.
How do you make the switch to become more value-based selling?
It's funny. That's very interesting, because I guess maybe I grew up on value-based selling. When I first got into sales, that was kind of the methodology I was taught. And it always came down to trying to quantify. How do I quantify to really help you understand what is the ROI from what you're going to do? So for me, it was almost harder to come back up. And I remember very vividly. I won't bother to tell the story because it's rather quite boring. But the time when I thought I was going to get fired from a job. Yeah, if you read my book, I got fired from a couple sales jobs. But when I thought I was going to get fired from another sales job, because my manager didn't think I had any sense of understanding what solution-based selling was all about, because I was so fixated on value. And the solution is really trying to understand what's going on inside the customer's head.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you grew up differently than I did. We certainly went to classes about, we called it relationship selling back then. And we would go to classes and we would sit in classes for hours. That's when training was 3 and 4 days long. And then we'd walk right back out and we'd all just take orders, you know. We would do, and we thought we were really like mastering the sales process if we actually proactively called a customer and tried to sell them a product or, tried to sell them a product or service they didn't bring up to us. And I think for me, I feel like the change came into value-based selling when I started to truly think of myself as more of an educator than a salesperson. And that I spent the majority of the beginning of the relationship not only engaging them in conversation and trying to hear, but educating myself on the industries in which I was selling into, so that I had more background and more understanding, sometimes even more so than what my customers had, as to what was going on in their industry and what they needed in order to be successful. So I felt like for me, it took this flip in my brain of thinking, these customers are my responsibility now. And the worst thing that could happen to me is not that I don't get a sale, it's that they find out about something they need from anybody else other than me. And when I started to make that shift into that level of responsibility, I moved into a value-based sales professional.
Hey, I just got an idea. We need to put together a flip book. On one side, it's value-based selling. On the other side, it's solution-based selling. So, okay.
That's great. That's a good, another project.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have anything else. We don't have anything. I mean, we're just sitting around doing nothing, and we've been bored stiff. So yeah. I mean, yeah. I
do love it though. I think it could be filled with some good quick tips.
Yeah, which is going to get us to the fast track here in just a second, because we're going to do a fast track. But before we do that, we should really talk about what is Sales Logic podcast and kind of what people should do. Because we really do hope that you jump out to saleslogicpodcast.com, leave us a question, just like Jim did from Kansas City, or go out to social media and just put a question out there and put hashtag Sales Logic. We'll see it. Because each week we bring in a question from a listener, just like I think one of the reasons why Sales Logic it is really kind of hitting home with so many people. And it's one of the reasons why VanillaSoft is the sponsor, because they said, hey, you guys, we like what you're doing. We want to be the sponsor. And of course, we love that when that happens. So, hey, we should jump into the fast track. So fast track question. Ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Put your hand on the button. Top ways to sell value. Go.
Top ways to sell value is number one is that you need to do your homework and you need to understand your customer. You need to be aware of the problems that they have.
I love that. I'm going to share with you. Understand, how do I quantify? How do I put it into dollars and cents? What is going to be the ROI you're going to get from what you buy from me?
That's great. You need to understand what value means to your customer, because how you sell value to one customer versus another, even in the same industry, may be very, very different. People will pay for what they believe is going to build their business, but value may be different to different businesses.
But come back and confirm it. What do I mean by that? What is it that the customer is looking for? It's not what you think it is. It's what the customer is willing to talk about twice. What I say is this: when the customer is willing to talk about a particular issue twice, then you know it's a need that they have, that they're looking to have solved.
You need to make sure that you are actually selling the value. You can't assume that the customer knows what the value is. So if the value that you bring to the table is that you are highly responsive, that that they're going to get some extra things going with it, that they'll always be able to interact with a person, that you are guaranteeing a return on investment within 30 days. Whatever it is, you have to articulate that value and make it part of the presentation. You just can't assume they understand the difference between you and what they're paying a competitor.
And I'll share one final one before we close the show, and that is, it really is about taking the time to develop a level of trust with the customer first, because you'll never understand what is the value proposition. You'll never understand it until you first have a level of trust, so that what they're sharing with you is absolute truth, and they have confidence in what they are sharing with you. So, hey, with that, we need to kind of start shutting down this show. So let me say thank you for listening to Sales Logic this week. If you like what you hear, subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast app. If something we've said has earned you a single dollar, consider telling a friend about our show. It's how we grow to help you grow. I'm Mark Hunter.
I'm Meridith Elliott Powell.
Remember, when you sell with confidence and integrity,
uncertainty suddenly becomes your competitive advantage.
and the sale becomes logical.
We'll see you next week.
Most people refer to VanillaSoft as the solution. It's the solution to ensure sales reps make the right number of attempts for every lead across all channels, including email, social, and the phone. It's the solution to serve the rep the next best lead every single time. You need to get your solution at VanillaSoft.com.